Do you feel like everyone else has already launched into the new year and you're still either trying to get moving or trying to catch up? If so, you are absolutely not alone. Feeling behind or overwhelmed in the winter is one of the most common modern anxieties, but it's also one of the most unnatural because for most of human history, this season was never meant to be about performance. If we look at ancient agriculture wisdom, it saw this time as a season of quiet preparation, not proof of our worth. Nothing was expected to grow, nothing was expected to move fast. Everything was gathering strength beneath the surface. I think we can all look back on history and see that, but now we live in a world that demands summer energy in February, and our nervous system definitely pays the price. And I want to name something really honestly here. For many of us, especially those of us with anxious or hyperactive nervous systems, slowing down doesn't feel peaceful at first. It feels wrong. It can feel unsafe, at least it did for me. There's this deep cultural message that if we stop moving, we'll fall behind. And if we fall behind, we won't be okay. I really struggle with that feeling. My own wiring tends towards speed. My thoughts move fast. My body wants to move fast. I tend to talk fast. I have to consciously remind myself to slow down. And there is a part of me that panics when I do. Sometimes it feels like I'm going against survival itself. To move at a winter pace, I've had to do what I think of as contrary action, slowing down even when something in me is screaming to catch up, resting even when my mind is insisting that rest is dangerous. I've had to build actual capacity for slowness, and that process has not been comfortable or cute. It has felt at times like I'm doing something wrong. So, this episode isn't just a learn how to slow down episode, it's also an acknowledgement that choosing slowness in a speed obsessed culture can feel like breaking a rule you didn't agree to, but have been obeying your whole life. Stay with me and make sure you hit the subscribe button because by the end of this episode, I'll share a simple everyday practice to help you not only soften this late winter anxiety of falling behind, but also hold yourself with compassion in that painful tension between the part of you that longs to slow down and the parts of you that are terrified that if you do, you'll be left behind. Agriculture life once moved in steady, predictable cycles. So, dormancy in the winter, awakening in the spring, growth through the warmer months, and harvest in the fall. These weren't just symbolic ideas, they were the practical structure of survival, and no one expected the land to behave outside of the season. If you look at old almanacs or agricultural calendars, even monastery gardens, late winter held very specific meaning. It wasn't a judgment period or a measure of productivity. It was a necessary in between. The seeds had been chosen, but not yet planted. The soil was resting, but almost ready to be turned. Nothing visible was happening yet. Everything essential was being prepared. But over the last century, especially after the Industrial Revolution, that rhythm was steadily overridden. With modern machines, the land could be worked year round. Chemicals and fertilizers were created to force growth in conditions that once would have slowed or frankly stopped. Modern agriculture no longer waits for the land, it pushes the land. And the same thing has happened to us. We've absorbed this new rhythm of constant output, constant growth, constant availability. Our culture pretends everything should be in harvest season all the time. Social media shows everyone in full bloom, even in the dead of winter. So when our inner world is in dormancy, but our screens show constant harvest, our body reads that as I'm behind, I'm late, I'm failing. We've forgotten that humans were once paced by the same cycles as the fields we depended on. So when we hit our own inner winter, those seasons where our energy is low and nothing visible seems to be happening, we panic. We feel anxious, We can often feel wired but tired. We assume there's something wrong with us, or at least that's how I felt for many years. But the old farmers would never judge a field in February and decide that it was worthless. They knew what was waiting. And I believe that wisdom still lives inside of us. In the rest of this episode, I want to show you how to begin moving at a winter pace in very small, practical ways, and how to meet the part of you that is terrified of slowing down with as much gentleness as we would offer a frozen field in February. So, how do we access the wisdom of winter in a culture that demands endless summer? One of the ways I do this is by training my nervous system for winter pace. This is a practice that, if you actually implement it, I truly believe will create huge positive changes. And I want to be really honest. For a lot of us, especially the anxious, hypervigilant, or just chronically overextended type, winter pace doesn't feel soothing at first. It can actually feel wrong. We've been told over and over that if we slow down, we'll fall behind. And if we fall behind, we will not be okay. So when we start to move slower, something in the body often screams, speed up, catch up, don't you dare rest. I feel that too. My default is fast, fast thoughts, fast speech, fast movement. When I practice winter pace, it often feels like I'm doing something dangerous, even though logically I know I'm just slowing down. So, this winter pace practice that I'll explain in a moment isn't about magically loving slowness. This is about training your nervous system to tolerate it. Think of it as building capacity for winter. And I say that as someone with a very hyperactive neurodivergent brain and nervous system. So if I can practice this winter training for my nervous system, so can you. So can you. Winter energy is slow, quiet, and deliberate. So a winter pace is going to reflect that. Now, I'm not going to suggest you stop your life or cut out half your schedule. That can actually backfire and create more anxiety. Instead, we start with the pace of the things you're already doing. Here's how I practice winter slowness in modern life. I still do my normal tasks. I just do them slower. I still have to go to the grocery store like everyone else, but in the winter, when I walk through the store, I remind myself we are not sprinting right now. I am moving in winter timing. And then I literally walk and move slower. I love to cook. So I'll cook dinner at an intentionally slower pace. I'll wash my face and brush my teeth at night more slowly, consciously telling myself, I am not sprinting right now. I am moving like winter. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm not changing the daily task. I'm changing the tempo at which they are done. Winter energy is also quiet. So part of a winter pace is inviting in more silence. Maybe for most of the year, you always have music or a podcast playing in the car. In winter, you might choose to drive in silence instead, which is actually so nourishing. Please try it. Or you might put on something very soft and gentle, like classical or Renaissance music, also awesome. I'll often cook dinner in silence in the winter, focusing on slower movement and quiet. The practice is simple. Choose one everyday task that you already do: brushing your teeth, making coffee, doing the dishes, walking from your car to your front door. And for the rest of this winter, let that be your winter pace practice. When you do the task, do it 10, 20, 30% slower than you normally would. Not dramatically, not in a way that adds stress, just a noticeable softening of speed. While you do this, remember this important part. You might feel irritated. You might feel restless. You might feel that internal pull to just hurry it up and get it over with. Nothing has gone wrong when this happens. That is the work. When that anxious, I'm falling behind, or I don't have time for this shit feeling comes up, you can quietly name it. This is the part of me that is afraid to slow down. Thank you for trying to protect me, but right now we're practicing a different pace. You're not trying to erase the anxiety. You're teaching your body in tiny doses that slower can be safe. Second, add one small pocket of quiet, not a whole silent retreat, not an hour of meditation. Can you do just like 5, 10 minutes per day where you don't fill the space with noise? Maybe it's driving in silence instead of putting on a podcast. Maybe it's cooking dinner with no TV or background sound. Maybe it's just sitting on the edge of your bed in the morning before you pick up your phone. Again, you might feel fidgety. Your brain might start listing everything you should be doing. That doesn't mean you're failing at this. It means you're noticing the speed your system is used to. That's awareness, not failure. Third, give your winter self a visible reminder. I have to do this because us earthlings are an amnesia race. We forget easily. This can be as simple as a sticky note on your bathroom mirror or a daily reminder on your phone that says something like, I release the lie that I'm falling behind. I honor the season of winter in me so I can properly grow in spring. Find a winter mantra, have it in a place where you can see it daily. You're not trying to believe it perfectly. You're just letting that sentence interrupt the automatic story that faster is always safer. Over time, these tiny practices, one slow task, one pocket of quiet, one reminder, start to reteach our nervous system that we are allowed to move like February, even when the world is performing July. This is about reclaiming your right to have seasons. We are not behind. We are just not in harvest season right now. Have a good week.